Is it possible for ordinary divers, could I call them ordinary divers, to go out and emulate those type of photographs with a lower end consumer type camera that most people would probably go on holiday with? I'll probably pitch that question to Ellen, maybe.
You can take amazing images with an iPhone in a case. You can take amazing images with the available light, but you have to go slow, observe, and take it all in. And so many people go into the water with their big camera gear and they just forget to admire what's there and to appreciate what's there. And I think you can absolutely take award-winning images with a small camera. It's how I started with a little camera. I won my first awards. I started selling images and then I bought my next camera and I'm still using it. So it's not about the gear, it's about the eye and the attitude also underwater.
I think too the very small cameras and the technology is so incredible that you can take your phone underwater and get, I mean, sometimes I see images that people come back with their phone and I'm like, why do I have this? Mm-hmm. So.
Yeah, I think it's a misconception that people have that they need to have the latest equipment or the very expensive equipment to get good photos. And quite honestly, it's a lot more about being a good diver and know your subject. And of course, if having a good light helps. If you have a good natural light, that makes a big difference when you have a low-end camera, kind of, you know, yeah.
Nuno, question for you, but first of all, fabulous pictures, all of you. Congratulations, really nice. My specific question, you showed how the belly of a manta can be used to identify it, and obviously that particular manta you put up in that case had a couple of remoras on it. So is this process entirely manual? Because presumably things like remoras must make it rather difficult for a computer to recognize the markings.
Well, I would say if the remora is placed right on the gray pattern, it could be a challenge for the software to identify and to match if there's another existing photo of the same animal. And I know that Ana Felipe does a lot of, sometimes the software doesn't quite work, so she does it manually. Is it correct, Anna? You do correct, so manually, so it's a very intense labor process. But yes, if the remora is placed in that gray dark area, it could be a challenge for the software to recognize it. Absolutely. Yeah.
Everybody's hungry.
I've got control of the microphones. I'm going to ask another one. Brandi, you showed a couple of pictures of wrecks. There was one great one there, for example, with all the plates and everything in the rather messy galley. When you've started investigating something like a wreck, have you ever found that you've actually unveiled a whole story and it's led to you sort of investigating a whole series of related underwater artifacts or anything like that?
Oh, that's a good question. What sort of first pops to mind, it's not really quite the same, but I was in the Solomons and just lucky enough to be on a boat when some fishermen came over and said that they thought they found a plane that they didn't know about, and the boat hadn't known that the plane was there. And so I wrote an article and contacted sort of the person who was the guy who searched for planes in that area, and I reached out to him and he was like, we do know that that one's there, but they hadn't released the information yet, so we didn't find it first, and I didn't find it. The fishermen came to the boat and told us. But yeah, so it's fun to explore and see what you can find.
I'm sorry, I'm going to bother you with something that you already heard from me when we started, when I invited you to come to the show. But I would like you to share your opinions with this. So, first of all, I'm astonished with the images I saw. I'm not a photographer. I don't know anything about how to take a good picture, or the maximum I'm able to do is to put a helmet with my GoPro, and then it's always recording. So this is the type of photographer I am. But I look at your images, and I'll fall in love with the seals. I want to go and explore the wrecks that Brandi shows, and I want to be side by side with Nuno when he finds the new Caravela Portuguesa. I don't remember the name.
Portuguese man of war.
Yeah, so your pictures are really, 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 really amazing. And when I look at those, what I feel is that, in fact, underwater photography, for me, is a work of art. Independently, it hasn't to do if you use it to raise awareness, if you use it to, I don't care. For me, what you do is a work of art, is artistic work in the most high, whatever it can reach as an expression. As an expression of art. So for you, and any one of you can answer, because I would like to have your both all your opinions. Do you think that someday will it be possible to look at what you do in this sense, or do you think that underwater photography is going to be forever a way of just sharing a story, sharing? Of course, a work of art is also shares stories, but I don't know if you understand. I think I did this better when I called you and when we talked. But you understand what I mean. So, what would you like to add to this idea, or to this sentence, this statement that your photographies are works of art? Thank you.
Yeah, so I think everybody that goes underwater is privileged. If you can go underwater with a camera, even more. And if you can create then something and convey the feelings you have in the water to other people so they start caring, I do believe you create works of art. But it does contribute when you put more effort in your image and you take compelling images. And then as a photographer, I think that should be also the aim. Be good divers, good photographers, because we need people to instantly fall in love with the ocean to protect it. It's not 5 before 12, it's 12 o'clock. So, and I think art can help with caring.
Yeah. Well, to be honest, my goal when I go underwater is not to create art. That's now, of course, not how it started, and it's not now how it is today. My goal is to share with the others what I see in the water, the amazing things that I see, but also the threats, like I said. If eventually along the way there's some of my images that someone considers art, and how can you define art, right? But if someone considers that it's art, it is a privilege, but of course that's not my goal. But yeah.
I'm sort of more on the same page as you know that I started diving, and I grew up in Wisconsin, which there's not ocean for a long ways, and I had a little point and shoot, and I just wanted to show everyone what I'd seen down there. And I'm a scuba instructor as well, and to sort of use the images to get more people to dive and sort of bring it to more people and show it has always sort of been my wanting to share the images. And if they do look like art, that's kind of a happy bonus. But yeah, that's...
I want to add that, for example, if you have an exhibition in a big city, like I had a few in New York, which is really nice, and then you're in a Big Apple, everybody's rushing, and you can then show your pictures or your art. It's very rewarding because you bring the ocean to people that would normally are so far not connected with it, but everything is connected. So I do like that part of taking the nice images.
Yeah. And following Ellen's idea, I think that if you do create images that somehow get people's attention, either because they're beautiful or because there's impact, like that photo that I've showed of the shark just with the fins, and so if you have the opportunity to get people's attention, that's when you are able to pass a message that something's wrong about the ocean. This is what's happening. And like Ken said, most of people are not aware of this, but they're too far away from the ocean sometimes to know that this is happening in our days. So this is that's my goal, to create images that somehow capture people's attention, and that's when you have the opportunity to pass this message of conservation.
Just got to this a little late, so apologize if this was touched on, but what you were just talking about, Nuno, I think as photographers that there's also this responsibility that you take these amazing photos, you set it up, you've got the light, you've got the subject, and over 30 years of diving, going back to some of the same dive sites, I've seen these same sites degrade and degrade and degrade, but yet to the diving and the non-diving public, we show these just amazing, beautiful, selected setup shots of the oceans, which can give an impression to the non-diving world that the oceans are beautiful, they're plentiful, when in fact they're under an extreme amount of pressure. And so do you feel a responsibility in shooting the beauty, but to also, I get, Nuno, that's maybe what you're doing, but to back that up with, this isn't the way it is all over the world.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's part of what the three of us try to do. But also the other part, and there are some very good examples of places that were not so long ago that were basically destroyed, and the marine life is almost gone. And by the creation of marine protected areas or several conservation initiatives, how it changed with time and how it got better. And then you have a message of hope, which is something that people need urgently nowadays. It's just not doom and gloom. We're not going to die. Well, we're all going to die soon, of course. But there's hope, and there's some very good initiatives all over the world. They're trying to fight against this current of catastrophic events that are happening worldwide.
Yeah, to add to that, I agree, and it is something that I'm not very good at because it makes me very sad that I don't even like taking the photos, but I feel like the shock and awe is a great way to show people what really is happening. But on the flip side of it, I think too that then sometimes people feel hopeless and that, it's already gone, there's nothing we can do. How is one little thing that I change in my lifestyle going to have an effect? So by giving sort of almost like a combination message too, to give hope as well, and to let people know that it doesn't have to be a massive lifestyle change to help the ocean. It can be very little things that people can do every day, even when you live far away from the water and things like that. So.